All right, welcome back. You're watching NewsX. India and the United States have agreed to sign a new 10-year defense framework which aims to improve military cooperation and boost defense production together. This update has brought major attention to defense stocks in India, especially companies like Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Bharat Electric Limited and Bharat Dynamics Limited. And according to a statement from the Pentagon, this agreement was discussed during a phone call between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Both leaders reviewed the considerable progress that has been made towards achieving the defense goals set out in February 2025 joint statement by President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi. The pending defense deal includes the delivery of GE F404 engines for the Tejas light combat aircrafts and 6 Boeing AH-64E Apache helicopters, expanding and co-producing Javelin anti-tank missiles, as well as procurement of additional P-81 maritime patrol aircrafts. The question is, how does the defense deal mean for India and the United States? What must the Pakistanis and the Chinese be feeling at this point in time? Well, we'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the program is Ambassador Basmati Mukherjee, former diplomat. Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is also with us on the program. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, joins us as well. And last but not the least, Major General Shashi Asthana, former DG Infantry and defense expert, with us on the program as well. General Asthana, I'll begin with you. Well, of course, while an FTA is also in the works with the Americans, this defense deal, what kind of a paradigm insight does it give you on the fact that the Americans, despite the hiccups in terms of dealing with the Americans and our foreign policy, still want to do business with us?
See, there is a very important thread which joins India and US, and that is the threat of China, because Chinese threat cannot be handled by their sleeping in bed with Pakistan. India is required, because minus India you can't handle China's threat. That's number one. And in that context, a large number of agreements were signed. I think if we go by the number of agreements, I think starting off from DTTI, Limoa, Comcasa, Mista, and there are a whole lot of them. And ICET was the latest, and thereafter that developed into something called as trust, strategic technologies. Now, the two agreements which are important and need to be flagged is, one is the NewsX summit. This is Indo-U.S. Acceleration of defense ecosystem. Now, in this, what is happening is that both sides, the innovators, are going to collaborate in a manner that we have an organization called as IDEX, Innovation of Defense Excellence, and USA has got, Department of Defense has got an organization called as Defense Innovation Unit. Now, these two are supposed to collaborate for the innovative technologies as we go along. Similarly, there was also a thought that a fair amount of manufacturing should be shifted to India, because the defense manufacturing for the United States is, they are feeling that it is costly everywhere. They can't manufacture in China, they can't manufacture in any other countries, European countries, that is, manufacturing is far too costly. So, India was thought of as a good destination for defense manufacturing, and that's why there is something called as the ASIA, ASIA. Now, this is to do with something Autonomous Systems Industry Alliance. Now, this is called as ASIA, and this was first meeting was held earlier last year, and now this has been announced in actually February. They hope that before President Trump comes to India, there is some progress in this. Now, this is as far as the agreements on books are concerned. Now comes the real problem. The real problem is that still we find that America is hesitant in sharing technology and equipment in a manner that we ordered 6 Apaches in 2020, we ordered G404 in 2021, and our entire Tejas program is held up because we didn't get G404 in time. Similarly, there are a whole lot of other technologies, we need these technologies for surveillance, situation awareness, also certain maritime awareness technologies, certain drones, autonomous glider drones and mode surveillance systems and dual mode. These are the 3 items which we intend manufacturing together. Now, there's a lot on table. And if you see strategically, there is no choice. We both have to collaborate. So therefore, irrespective of the rhetorics, we will have to work it out with America towards the defense development and defense manufacturing. And I think our diplomats are working extra hard, despite the kind of uneasiness which we had after Op Sindoor and Munir having lunch in White House and they trying to hyphenate India and Pakistan post Sindoor. So those are some of the things which may not have been liked, but then the fact is, the hard reality is President Trump has to come to India. Before that, a lot of things have to be sorted out, and uh, I think there is we can say that a lot is being done in that direction. Vineet.
Right, Professor Nalapa, the military-industrial complex is obviously a very important of the American foreign policy as well. But what does this mean for our adversaries? Few days ago, sir, the Pakistanis, signed a deal with the Chinese to get stealth bombers, 20 of them, which obviously raised a number of concerns in India as well. What does this association and this defense deal with the Americans mean, and will it have any bearing on the foreign policy, which of late has come under scrutiny because of the way the Americans have dealt with issues that are sensitive to India?
Look, President Trump has hardly been in office for 2 months, so give him a bit of time, cut some slack, as they say, before you come to a conclusion. As far as India and the US is concerned, I agree that Dr. General Astana is right, but the fact is that the US must learn to trust India as a scientific and technical collaborator, especially in sensitive field of defense. The fact is that they trusted China, and China basically stole all the technology. India is not China, but as yet the Chinese groups are very influential there. The Chinese lobby is very influential there, and they are trying to plant doubt about India, that India is not reliable, be careful, don't be in a hurry, or if you go somewhere, go to Vietnam, go to Thailand, go to Indonesia, in short, go to any other country except India, because they're very worried about India catching up with China, and that fear is driving this complex. So the reality is that we have to conquer that fear, and that can happen only when more and more of this kind of combination takes place. I have long argued, for example, for defense manufacturers and aircraft manufacturers to source a lot of their production in India. And now actually confidence is growing among them that India is a safe destination, that India is not going to steal technology or worse, steal it and sell it the way Pakistan has done. So I think it's a work in progress. And yes, I agree it is inevitable that we cooperate together. But the fact is that, we have to ensure that this happens. And one way to do that is to build trust. And very frankly, if you talk about our foreign policy in the pre-Modi period, it doesn't inspire much confidence. We have been wobbling here, wobbling there, this side of the fence, that side of the fence, and and frankly, that is not very inspiring. For somebody as important as the U.S. Defense Secretary to really take seriously, although he is now taking it seriously. This 10 years is a great agreement. I've been arguing for this for a very long time. But it takes time, General Astana, to build the amount of trust. And I think in about 6 months, we should be able to build the requisite trust so that the major defense majors, the important manufacturers, US manufacturers, will feel safe in locating to India. It's up to us to do that. There's nothing inevitable about any partnership. It may be necessary, but being necessary is not the same thing as being inevitable. So I think it's important for the two sides to build trust in each other. And as correctly been said, we have also got issues of trust with this flirtation with Asim Munir, a religious fanatic, and his jihadi army. But I think a lot of that was optics, and General Munir would have been so-called, I don't know what he is, but I would refuse to call him a field marshal. He would have been subject to a fair amount of hard talk behind the scenes. So I want to say one thing, Vinny, it's still a work in progress. Nothing is inevitable in the field of geopolitics, although it may be necessary. And the reality is there's one country which is desperate to stop it. That's a very powerful country, a very influential country, and that country is China. So we have to understand the US lobbies of China. They're very, very extensive, and they're working overtime to try and doubt our reliability. They may dig up some old videos of General Astana in which he's attacked the US. They may dig up some old videos of mine in which I've done the same. Although I have always attacked not the US, the country, but the policies of any one leader at that point in time. So I would like to say, in my view, Prime Minister Modi and President Trump are the prime movers behind this. And Prime Minister Modi is a very able Prime Minister, and I'm very certain he can see to it that trust is built up so that we have these majors relocating some of their production to India. It's not an easy task given the amount of wrong propaganda about the US and India spread by China, and wrong propaganda about India and the US again spread by China. It's not an easy task, but our Prime Minister is equal to that task. And in President Trump, he has an ally in keeping the Indo-Pacific free, open, and inclusive. Thank you, Vinny.
Absolutely right, sir. Ambassador Mukherjee, how do you view this situation, these flirtations with Pakistan and Asif Munir? Do they mean anything? Does India really need to, in fact, judge this relationship on a few incidents, or do we need to look at the holistic picture that has been pretty rosy for the past few years with the Americans?
We should look at the holistic picture because we are dealing with an American president who's totally transactional, but who is a complete businessman. And clearly, the American defense industry would benefit from a 10-year defense deal with India because we are not a bankrupt or semi-failed nation. So, under those circumstances, we should actually look to rebuilding fences with the United States as soon as possible, while taking into account what Professor Nanapath has said about the influence of the Chinese lobby, remembering, on the other hand, that actually the presence of the Dalai Lama in India and his 90th birthday and all the politics around it actually brings the United States much closer to India. There are huge number of Dalai Lama followers in United States. They wield a very important role in American foreign policy. That is something that we need to leverage in our relationship with the Americans and with Trump. Secondly, I do believe that with the Quad meeting and EM being there, our effort has been to slowly shift back President Trump's attention from the excessive focus that he had so far on other issues, because he seems to be obsessed with the Nobel Peace Prize, and to bring him gradually but gently back to refocusing on the Indo-Pacific, on the Quad, on the threats which Taiwan could face, on the kind of responses that United States would make in case Taiwan is threatened, etc., etc. Now that the tensions in the Middle East, for the time at least, seems to be easing off a bit. And that again, we can help by insisting on a 10-year defense pact with gradual transfer of technology. When we did it with the French, it was a gradual transfer. The first thing the French did was they said that we will give the technology to build the doors of the aircraft and the windows. That's the technology they were willing to transfer. It took us a long time to persuade the French to transfer technology to us. It is a fact that nations which have this kind of very sensitive technology are initially hesitant to transfer it, It's, as you rightly pointed out, and as Professor Nandapat pointed out, it's a question of building trust. And I hope that in the next 6 months we can do that, because this defense deal would be something that I'm sure President Trump would want to sign when he comes on his state visit to India. There are other deals which General pointed out, including the ASIA, the Indo-Pacific Summit, the Technology Forum, etc. And in addition, we do intend to buy much more to be prepared for the next war with Pakistan. It doesn't matter if so-called General Field Marshal Munir has enjoyed hospitality, eating halal meat with President Trump in the White House. It makes no difference. The point is that we will buy American arms to ensure that the next time they try to do anything strange with us, we will thrash them into submission. Whatever we didn't do last time, we will do it this time. There's no doubt about it. There's no question about it. So, no matter how much President Trump keeps insisting that it was his ceasefire, these are great guys, both are great leaders, etc. That is all rhetoric which comes from his television background. It's nothing else. No spokesman or statesman, international spokesman or an American president speaks like this. We have to learn to live with his rhetoric and his way of speaking, and understand that transactional relationships actually can be taken advantage of, because India is the land of Chanakya. We know what is a transactional relationship. We are very transactional ourselves. Who said we are not transactional? We're not naive. We have to be transactional. So this defense partnership is transactional foreign policy on India's part. We need to do it, like we need to buy the drones. We need to make President Trump feel that he will get more money, more trade, and more deals out of India than from the field marshal. That's all we have to do. The moment we convince him about it, he will be singing a different tune. That's what we are working towards. And I think that our foreign policy today which is based on multipolarity and multi-alignment, is the correct one, given the fact that you have an American president who switches from one country to another. He says one thing one day and the opposite the next day. In such a situation, multipolarity and multi-alignment is what suits India. And if he is going to be nice to us, we'll be very nice to him. Nothing stops us from being very nice to him. We've always been very nice to him. He has to understand he cannot hyphenate us. The moment he understands that we have much more money to spend on American weapons than this so-called field marshal, he will again be very nice to us. So we have to learn how to deal with him. I think we have already learned how to deal with him. It's been a bit of steep learning curve beneath. It took us a bit of time to figure out how to deal with him, but I think we have now learned how to deal with him beneath.
All right, fair enough. Sumit Peer, your analysis of the situation. Donald Trump has always been transactional, and India is not the only country that he is going to be transactional with. I'm sure he's transactional with the people who support him as well, on conditions that they support him. But the fact of the matter is that of late, India's foreign policy when it comes to the Americans has been put under the spotlight. Do you think that is only because of the erratic behavior that has been shown by Donald Trump? And when it comes to this defense deal, obviously India has more to gain than to lose.
Thank you for having me on your show. Look, there are a lot of things which are going around in the world right now. The defense deal is being, I was yesterday on your channel and I talked about it. I said, look, it is going to happen. It's a matter of time. It's just, it's a sign away. For the first time, Jaishankar Saab was meeting Pete Hegseth in Pentagon. I mean, this is what I call the military diplomacy. And they were discussing and talking about this deal. A lot of people were irked, a lot of people didn't like it. And a lot of people who sympathize and empathize with China, of course, they get crazy, which is okay. But at the same time, look, today, Rajnath Singh ji talking to the Pete Hegseth. Now the deal is formal, it's official, it is going to be done. So what are we talking in this deal? Whenever we're talking the deal, we are about to sign a BT or FTA with USA. It might or might not happen around 9th July. It might be a couple of days here and there. Look, in that BTA, there is a trade-off. We don't want them to send us those, genetically modified crops, and we don't want to open up the dairy industry. So America will tell you, what do you give me in return? I want to have the balanced trade. Okay, the possible thing will be, okay, let these two sectors go. We are buying weapons from you. What is my guarantee of buying weapons from you? Okay, 10 years deal. But what does India get out of it? Look, buddy, it's not going to be I'm buying from you. It is going to be a joint conceptualization of products. Then we develop the products and even decentralized manufacturing. One of the important aspects of the deal is decentralized manufacturing. So in the long run, I look at something like a BrahMos Corporation, where the product was Russian, we Indianized it, and now we are manufacturing it in India. Of course, there are strings attached to it. Some things like that. We are not a buyer, we are a partner. I will call it a semi-informal military ally, if I may have the liberty of doing that. That is what it is. India is only one of the 4 countries in the world which can directly talk to Pentagon. They don't need to talk to Washington. They can directly talk to Pentagon. And this messaging, what was done, when was it done? We need the Iran, America and Israel war is simmering. It can come any day. Russia, Ukraine is on. And look, the failed Field Marshal Wende, I called him failed Field Marshal. Failed Field Marshal Wende, and after that, what does he get? He was whacked. He did not support Iran. Nobody from the Islamic world supported Iran. And a couple of days of that, you have the biggest ever defense collaboration happening between India and America. Dr. Jaishankar said yesterday, quote unquote, it will be the consequential, this will be very consequential for our future relations to have. So India has put the foot forward. Bhai, this is exactly what we want. And if we get it, and we get it the way we want it and the terms we want it, we are going ahead with you. If you are not giving us that, then you are not taking care of our interests. You want us to open the Indian market, but what do we get in the return? This is what exactly we get into return. And America is very careful of, all the optics. Look, before the trade deal and before the Republican National Convention, 10 days from now, 15 days from now, Trump wants to go there with something on the table. Look, I've got this $500 billion deal. And let me remind you, sir, if our trade goes by 20, 30 to $500 billion by the grace of God, the Chinese exports to America will fall down by 89%. So Chinese trade will go like this. Our trade will go like this. And there are a lot of forces, what Madhav sir and Basmati ma'am and General Asthana sahab rightly said, there are a lot of forces in the world. They will try to scuttle this. They will try to break this. They will try everything in the thing. But they don't understand. And we as Indians know how to do. For example, we may say, America is flirting with this Pakistan and here. Let me be a devil's advocate for 30 seconds. We Indians, don't we buy from Russia? Yes, we do. Don't we buy from France? Yes, we do. Don't we do business with China? Yes, we do. Don't we have a relation with Iran? Yes, we have. And don't we have a residual relation with Afghanistan? Yes, we have. So how can we expect the others to follow straight line and when we follow alternate curve? Well, we want them to have a DC curve, where line straight hoti hai, and we'll follow alternate curve. But the name of the game is transitional. I mean, always saying, pyar karo, vyapar mat karo na bhai. Vyapar karo, pyar mat karo. Do trading, do business. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to be best of buddies. America needs India in the Indo-Pacific. That is done and dusted. Yesterday, one of the important aspects of the meeting was that metallurgy deal, wherein the 4 members of Quad get together and they said we have to break it away from China. Now the rare earth extraction, processing, manufacturing and export will be this ecosystem will take it on. Because look, Australia has the ore, we have the ore, Japan has the technology, America has the need and the best refining possibilities. So if we get together, whatever the ace card of China is left, that is this rare earths, we can break through. That is the thing what is happening, and it's a matter of time. Vinny, look at this deal, look at other things what I've been tracking since yesterday. There's a matter of time. You will very soon see one day the military charter of Quad will be written, has to be written, must be written. That's the only way to counter China without military charter. You can have an influence, you can have an alliance like Russia and Iran and China had when push comes to shove, nobody comes to help each other. But compare it with the NATO where there's a Charter 5 which clearly defines who is supposed to do what. You cannot run away from that. These are some of the changes which are happening, and we need the important thing. When Donald Trump came to power, 5 months, how many times has he spoken to Prime Minister Modi? How many times has Modi ji and Trump met? Numerous times, numerous phone calls and all this interaction. How many times has he spoken to Xi? Only once for trade. How many times have they went no? Has Xi Jinping got the kind of stature what Modi ji got in the White House, the attention, the priority? No, he has not got it. Like, let's face it. The things are hyphenating, things are changing. Yes, Trump doesn't have a lot of domestic wins. So what does he do? He wants to claim this कहते हैं ना बहती गंगा में हाथ धोना.
All right, fair enough.
मैंने करा.
All right, Professor Nalapat, go ahead, sir.
The Prime Minister's 5-nation tour of 8 nations of 8 days, all these rare earths and lithium and other rare earths that my good friend Sumit is talking about, all of them actually are present in practically all the 5 countries.
Correct.
It's a very, very carefully chosen path which the Prime Minister is taking, and I would say that rare earths is a very important component of that path. And Maitri comes, rare earth also will come. So I think I would like to congratulate the Prime Minister for the wisdom with which he has planned this itinerary, this 5-nation itinerary over 8 days, because it basically is an itinerary that will result in a lot of rare earth sourcing coming to these countries rather than to China, which is a threat to our security. I wanted to add that, Vineet. Thank you for giving me the chance.
Fair enough, sir. Appreciate you joining us and appreciate everybody who joined us and filled in on this important development. We take a short break now. We'll be right back.